Hi everybody, it's Christopher and welcome to Life's Not Over, It Just Looks Different on YouTube. In a previous video, I talked about the need to advocate for people who lose their sight due to stroke or other brain injury. And particularly I'm focused on adults because that's been my experience. But when it comes to children who have cortical visual impairment or cerebral visual impairment, I'm worried about them and their future as well, because right now, from what I've seen in groups that I've been part of and discussions that I've had with various professionals, there's a lot of support for children with CVI through teachers of the vision impaired, educational assistants, some pediatric ophthalmologists or optometrists who seem aware of it and want to help and try to do things. But in my experience, for adults with cortical visual impairment or adults who lose their sight due to a stroke or some other form of brain injury, there isn't the same level of support. And it's not just been my experience from a number of years ago. In the past probably 3 years, I've met two other adults locally here in Calgary who have also had a similar experience and have told me horror stories about a lack of support offered to them. I met one gentleman who experienced a stroke and had right side paralysis and lost his vision. He got a lot of rehab to help get the use of his right side of his body again, so he's good there. But when it came to his vision, he really didn't get any help or support. And he, to be honest, didn't even get a white cane to tell other people that he's vision impaired or to help him get around. I met another lady who had a stroke who has told me some other similar horror stories about people just not getting it, not understanding, even going so far as to think that she's making it up, which just absolutely breaks my heart. So my gears started turning and I thought, well, somebody needs to do something about this. And if nobody else is going to do it, I want to do it. So I started reaching out to some other agencies that either help people with sight loss, help people with brain injury, or help people with stroke. And I got basically two kinds of responses. Some of them said, yes, we know that that's a problem, but we don't really have programming or know how to help. And then others would say to me, yeah, we don't deal with that. Go ask that agency. And then I'd go to that agency and they'd say, no, unfortunately, we don't deal with that either. There seems to be a gap for particularly adults who acquire sight loss due to stroke or other forms of brain injury. And what worries me about that is that someday the children who have CVI and are being supported right now are going to grow up and quote unquote age out of some of those supports. And then they're going to be left in a world where it doesn't really exist and this help and support isn't really there. So that really concerns me a lot. So on that note, and identifying that gap, I am in the process of starting up a nonprofit to help address that need and that gap that I see. I've created Functional Vision Association of Canada, FVAC. Right now it's only Alberta based. This is where we're rolling it out. And we took a huge step forward last weekend where I convened a meeting of other people who've lost their sight due to stroke. I had a lady there who has a background in mental health, facilitation, and education. And there were also some family members of one of the people that attended the meeting who were there and were able to give some of the family perspective of what it's been like to work with and to know their person pre-sight loss and now after the sight loss and see that difference. And what an amazing discussion we had. It was so eye-opening. It was so amazing to have some of these stories shared and also the energy that we came out of from that meeting. I know the others with sight loss have written to me and said, when are we doing that again? We need to do that some more. I had a conversation with the lady from the mental health sphere, and she and I started talking about ways that we need to start getting this going. particularly on the mental health portion, because that's something else that we learned in that meeting, and it was similar to my own experience as I've shared in previous videos, that this is not being addressed. People with strokes are losing their eyesight, and nobody is saying to them, how is your mental health? Can we help you deal with the fact that your life just got turned upside down? Nobody's doing that. So this is our goal, and that's what came out of that discussion last weekend. So we're going to do more. I thought about doing it in person because after the pandemic, I thought we'd all want to be able to meet in person. But I think our next one's going to be virtual, because that was some of the feedback I got from the group, is that they'd really like to do it virtually. But I'm really excited about this. I am so thrilled and happy that others see the vision and the goal that I have. And I basically have right now sort of, I would call it 4 main goals that I want to achieve with this nonprofit entity that I'm starting up. First, there needs to be much more raising of awareness and education out there for everybody, whether it be people in the mental health sphere, medical professionals who deal with different levels of low vision conditions. I've actually had a couple of eye doctors who've said to me, yes, we think that's a good idea. And so they've offered to help and support me in that regard, which is fantastic. Another part is similar to what we did last weekend, where I want to have, whether it be a virtual meeting or whether it be an in-person meeting or a hybrid of some sort down the road, who knows, where people who have the condition and family members can get together and talk about these things, so that we can all kind of learn from each other on ways that we can move forward, want to move forward, and get past the woe is me portion, so that we can get back to having productive lives. That was always been my goal, and that's why this channel is named what it is, Life's Not Over, It Just Looks Different, because I didn't want to sit in pity and sit in a corner and do nothing. I wanted to get up and do stuff, and that's what I'm doing. Down the road, I would like to work with some occupational therapists or physiotherapists or both, who can help me take some of the strategies that are used for for children with the condition, and adapt them for adults, so that we can find ways that adults can try to regain some of their functional vision, because their eyes are physically fine, and we just need to get the brain refiring and rewiring to get people capable again and confident in their own abilities to be able to do things. So I need some help with that, because I know what I did for myself, but I need the help of some professionals that can also help do that. And then ultimately, someday down the road, I would love to have a place where people can come and actually get help from occupational therapists, physiotherapists, mental health counselors, any of those sort of things, so that adults in the future who experience sight loss due to stroke or other brain injury don't have to suffer in silence like I did in the early days, and like some of the other people did that I've met. This is my goal. If you or someone you know wants to join our future meetings, let me know. You can always drop me an email at christopher.gordon@functionalvision.ca, and I will put that email address in the description for this video. If you are an occupational therapist or a physiotherapist who wants to help, please get in touch. I would love to hear from you. And lastly, if you know of places where I can start to look for funding to help fund some of these activities and these projects, please let me know, because I have the lived experience, the drive and the desire and the goals. I have the big picture vision, but I need help with some of the work. So if you or someone you know can help out in these regards, I would love to hear from you. Like I said, it's christopher.gordon@functionalvision.ca. I'll put that in the description for this video. And let's make magic happen for people who lose their sight due to stroke or brain injury. And it's also helped tomorrow's adults, the wee ones right now, our future adults, so that they don't age out of a system and go into nothing. That's everything I wanted to share in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who watches these videos, who's clicked like down below, shared these videos with friends. Thank you so much for doing so. I really do appreciate the support, and I hope you have a wonderful day.